Ladies and gentlemen, we are about ready to get this show on the road or on the water, whichever works. Want to take just a quick minute and welcome the folks at Racer H2O. Thank you guys for joining us. You came in at a really good time because it's go time right now. First off, we start every race here at the SDBA with an invocation, and I'm going to turn that over to Big Brother Mike and let him handle that for us right now. To grab your gear and get ready. All right, here we go. Tommy Powell, Blue Thunder. Full track license pass. I didn't look. All right, so good news. That run was just exactly what we needed. We'll give Tommy Powell a license to drive that machine. All right, next up in the Paris, Texas right-hand lane, mode number 851K, is Jake Ballard, driving for John Parham. Half track. He's going to be making a half track. wherever you may be around the world. Welcome to Paris, Texas, and we're sure glad to have you. All right, so Colton Byler and Stretch in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, dialed in a 12.65, ran a 12.61 with a 5. And that'll be good enough for the number 5 qualifying spot in the first round. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, Brandon Lempar turned it red by over a second, 1.16 on the wrong side of it. Dialed in at a 13.9 and ran a little fast, ran a 13.82 with a 5. And that'll leave him in the first round at number 6, but I bet you he will fix that shortly. They're all still trying to figure it out, how the boats are going to run with the temperatures and the density altitude and all the other things that play a factor. Kind of messes them up. It's a little bit cool this morning. I know that's a crazy statement to make, but it's going to get hotter. The boats tend to run a little better when it's cool. So they're running fast right now. They may not run fast later on. We'll see how that goes. Don't forget, Ye-Ye's is set up back here. They got breakfast tacos. They got burgers and fries, chicken strips and fries, foot-long corn dogs, nachos, coffee and drinks. Roz's Eats. They got sandwiches and wraps and such, and they've also got drinks over there. The Chocolate Kettle. Only thing I saw on their menu was chocolate dip cheesecake. But I'll bet you they got more. Go by and check them out real quick. They got Texas-sized sirloin steak kebabs coming up back there as well. And then don't forget, it's going to be a hot one today, Shiver Me Shavers with snow cones, iced coffee, and smoothies. All of those folks set up right back here off the water on Vendor Row. Racers, don't forget Sunoco Race Fuels is here. They're set up down at the end of Vendor Row. If you need some fuel, go by and see them. And then right here behind the timing tower, Beverly and her crew have got the drag boat review booth set up. And also RESP is set up back there as well. All right, here we go. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 175 is Brody Helm. Calls the boat Woody's Golden Child. Dialed in at a 14.7 and ran a 14.95 with a 7. 58 hundredths of a second for a reaction time, and that's good enough for the number 4 qualifying spot at the end of the first round of qualifying. Modified Eliminator, this is your final call to the in-ramp. Modified Eliminator, your final call to the in-ramp. Pro Eliminator, need your boats at the line, please. Pro Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp. Top Eliminator, need you guys warmed up, ready to go. Quick Eliminator, stand by. All right, here comes our first pair of stock eliminators. Stock eliminator is a dial-in class, just like personal watercraft. They're going to come up, they're going to tell us what they think the boat will run. We're going to plug that in and let them see if they can make their number. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is boat number 746. That is Blackie Bame. Calls the boat Blackie's Magic, racing out of Rio Medina, Texas, sponsored by Snyder Motorsports, Mickey and Glenda and Sons, Bob and Marla Winder, Oscar and Jacinda, Marley Ranch, Dave and Jana, Lily Construction, Rodney and Pam Piper. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 1776 is Ricky Brooks. He calls that boat American Pride. He's dialed in at a 9:05. Well, Blackie Bay makes the run, 0.4 of a second too early, turns it red, but it won't matter right now. And then on a 10-4 dial-in, ran a 10:51 with a 3 for a 72-mile-an-hour pass. Ricky Brooks standing up on his boat looking, trying to figure out what happened. It started, and then it died, and that was the end of that run. Tough luck for Ricky. Hopefully it's nothing major. Get it back, do a quick fix. We'll get him towed out of here, and then we'll get him squared away. We need truck and trailer. Do we need his? Hold off on that truck and trailer. Don't go anywhere yet. Rodney Blackstock is in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left-hand lane, boat number 424. He calls it Plum Crazy. Driving for Al Kirshner. Sponsored by Rodney Blackstock, driving for Al and Dodie Kirshner. And racing in memory of Max Davis. Big thanks to MTR. He's dialed in at a 9 flat. There's 5 seconds on the countdown. Here we go. .27 of a second for a reaction time, and then dialed in at a 9 flat, ran a 9:29 with a 9. 9:29 with a 9 for a 79-mile-an-hour pass. There's a whole lot of 9s in there. Rodney Blackstock putting his first qualifying run in the books. Pro Eliminator, need your boats to the in-ramp, please. Pro Eliminator, need your boats to the in-ramp, please. Top Eliminator, need you warmed up, ready to go. Quick Eliminator, make sure you're fueled up, geared up, plugs in the boat, ready to go. I'll be calling you shortly. If you still need to take care of any paperwork with Stacy, you need to hurry up and get that done. She's going to close at 10 o'clock. So you've got a half an hour. If you have not yet checked in, gotten your crew passes, whatever else you need to do, you need to go down and get that taken care of quickly. She's going to close up at 10 o'clock. You got about a half an hour. All right, here we go. Your next pair in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 707 is Natasha Cruz. Calls the boat Crackerjack, dialed in at a 9.8. That is a TX20 with a Chevy 505 for power, sponsored by Hand Motorsports, Carter Rig Service, Eagle Motorsports, Jimmy and Priscilla Kemp, and special thanks to Sherrill Hand, head cheerleader, and Chase West. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 1776 is Ricky Brooks and American Pride. Gonna try again, dialed in at a 9.05. Been working on this boat for 3 years, hoping to get it dialed in and take a W. Sponsored by Cool Creations, Boat Docks, Winger Race Engines, Central Texas Jets, and his tuner, Mickey Harlow. Well, Mickey, wherever you're at, I think we still need some work. Ricky Brooks still not able to get off the line. Boat started again and then died, and that was the end of that. Natasha Cruz on the other side. Let me, hey, never mind. Ricky Brooks made the run. Sorry about that. 996 with an 8. 996 with an 8. 97 hundredths, 97 thousandths of a second for a reaction time. Natasha Cruz did not make it off the line. Looks like we're going to need truck and trailer for boat number 707. Back to the in-ramp, please. Truck and trailer for boat number 707. Back to the in-ramp, please. All right, next pair of stock eliminators in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane. Boat number 0647 is Garrick Snyder. Calls that boat Young Gun. Sponsored by Rio Medina Truck and Auto, Rio Fab and Weld, Lilly Construction, Custom Powder Coating, Four-Way Bar, Long's Machine, Jeff Gibson Insurance, Guild Mortgage, Regan and Angie Everett, Rowdy Tees, RNS Construction, Trinity Ministries, Twisted Tags and Embroidery, and thanks to the family and crew. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 817 is Stephen Russell. Calls the boat Harry Canary. Dialed in at a 9 flat, sponsored by A.E. Shaw, Outlaw Crew, Eagle Motorsports, and special thanks to Rick Gordon and Jimmy Kemp. So Garrick Snyder turns it red by 11 thousandths of a second, and then was too fast at the top end as well and broke out by 21 hundredths of a second. He dialed in at a 9.2, ran an 8.98 with a 3. Stephen Russell turned it red by just under a quarter of a second, and then ran a little slower than he wanted. Ran a 9.66 with a 1 on a 9-second index, or a 9-second dial-in rather. All right, here we go in the Paris, Texas right-hand lane. Boat number 1457 is Zachary Watson. Sponsored by T-Shirts and More, Central Texas Jets, Anytime Air and Electric, Mills Market, Fishman, and WCR Construction. They call that boat Chicks Dig It. And he's dialed in at a 9 flat. So Zachary Watson dials in at a 9 flat, ran a 9.14 with a 7, 9.147. And jumped about a quarter of a second too early for the red light. Your next stock eliminator in the Paris, Texas right lane is boat number 80. That is Doug Fox, sponsored by Flying F Farms. Calls the boat Worst Case Scenario. He's dialed in at a 9 flat. Woo! That's Purdy right there. He dialed in a 9 flat, ran a 9.005. 9.005, 37 hundredths of a second for a reaction time. And that is good enough for the number 1 qualifying spot in the first round for Doug Fox. Got another single in the Paris, Texas right lane. Boat number 877 is Justin Stewart. Stewie calls that boat Wingman out of Austin, Texas, sponsored by RB Props, Brady Trucking Services, Aquatic Balance Pool Services. Special thanks to Bob York as Toho. Hardcore Harper, big shout out to Wes Kahn watching live on racerh20.com. We need somebody from boat number 014 to come up to the timing tower, please. Somebody from boat number 014 to the timing tower, please. 014, we need somebody from your crew to come up to the tower, please. All right, so apparently Stewie's boat didn't start or something happened. I'm not sure what happened there, but looks like they're going to reset it. All right. And we got Natasha Cruz back in the Paris, Texas right lane. Boat number 707. They call that one Cracker Jack. Dialed in as a 9.8. 9.8. All right, Natasha Cruz gets it done that time. Not as well as she wanted to. Dialed in at a 9.8, ran a 10.15 with a 1. 10.15 with a 1. 0.7 of a second for reaction time. Good enough for the number 5 qualifying spot. Definitely not the run she wanted. I'm sure they'll come back and do that again. They got 2 more rounds of qualifying to figure it out. All right, in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, we got boat number 1111. That is Stephen Walls. Calls the boat Happy Hour. Modified eliminator now running on an 8-second index. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 941K is Bill Miles. Crazy Cracker. Here we go. All right, so Stephen Walls in Happy Hour off the line in 0.2 of a second, and on an 8-second index ran an 8:25 with a 1, 8:25 with a 1. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, Bill Miles, Crazy Cracker, off the line a little early, 19 thousandths of a second too fast, but ran an 8:03 with a 2, 8:03 with a 2, and with only 2 boats down the course so far, that puts him in the number 1 spot. We'll see how that goes. Next up in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 517 is Jesse James Jr. out of Tyler, Texas. Sponsored by Lone Star Millworks, David and Daniel Muller, Cedarbuilt, Eagle Motorsports, and JCD. He calls that boat Outlaw. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 311 is Andrew Decker. Calls the boat in too deep out of Buckholz, Texas. Sponsored by GNC Machinery, Robert Moore, Easy Tire, CMT Mobile Services, Samantha, Danny, and Christine Springer looking pretty decals rather, and his wife and kids. 8 seconds the index for Mod Eliminator. Jesse James Jr. turns it red by 29 thousandths of a second, 29 hundredths of a second rather, and ran an 8:15 with a 6. And Andrew Decker, 18 hundredths of a second too early, and then ran an 8:07 with a 9, 8:07 with a 9, and that'll put him in the number 2 qualifying spot so far. Next up in the Paris, Texas right lane, Stewie going to try again. Justin Stewart calls the boat Wingman, boat number 877. Sponsored by RB Props, Brady Trucking Services, Aquatic Balance Pool Services. Special thanks to Bob York, Hardcore Harper, and a big shout out to Wes Kahn. Sitting at home watching on Racer H2O. Boat's running this time. Let's see what happens. Stock eliminator. He's running on a 9-second dial-in. Here we go. All right. Stewie gets it done. Dialed in at a 9 flat, ran a 9:35 with a 4. 9:35 with a 4. Little over 4 seconds to get off the line. They'll need to do a little tweaking with that. All right, let's see. Pro Eliminator, this is your final call to the in-ramp. Top Eliminator, need you guys to the in-ramp, please. Quick Eliminator, need you warmed up, ready to go. And Pro Comp Flat, need you guys to grab your gear and be ready. I'll be calling you shortly. All right, here we go. More modified eliminators now in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane. Boat number 794 is Lane McDonald. Calls that boat High Voltage. Sponsored by Bloomer Trailers, All-Tex Welding, Pat Kinsey Drywall, Tim Ortiz, SWAT Speed Marine, George Olson, Mom, Dad, Melanie, and Caitlin. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 157 is James Kemp. He calls the boat Side Chick. James Kemp in the side check machine, sponsored by J&J Transportation, 4K Enterprises, Ranchero Concepts, Eagle Motorsports, Skyhand Motorsports, FloatFix.com in Tyler, Texas. James Kemp off the line a little early, 65 thousandths of a second too fast. And too fast at the big end, broke out by 16 hundredths. On an 8-second index, he just ran a 783. On the other side, however, Lane McDonald on an 8-second index ran an 8:04 with a 4 with 14 hundredths of a second for reaction time. That'll be good enough for the number 2 qualifying spot in the first round. Your next pair in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is boat number 018. That is Hardy Cole out of Joplin, Missouri. Calls the boat Booger Red. Driving for Mickey Harlow in Odessa. That boat's a custom craft powered by Chevrolet, sponsored by Jet Boat Bills Performance in Tulsa, Sonia Owensby in Odessa, 4A Pest Control in Odessa, Dead Aim Racing in Odessa, Carol McKinney, St. Louis, Missouri, Dirty Bottom Racing in Joplin, Missouri, Edison Systems in Odessa, and LOB Racing Products. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 0657 is Grant Snyder. He calls that boat Big Iron. Racing out of Rio Medina, Texas, I believe. Sponsored by Rio Medina Truck and Auto, Rio Fab and Welding, Lilly Construction, Custom Powder Coating, 4-Way Bar, Damon Decker, 212 Athletics, Jeff Gibson Insurance, Guild Mortgage, Regan and Angie Everett, Rowdy Tees, R&S Construction, Long's Machine, Postal Annex, Twisted Tags and Embroidery, and thanks to his family and crew. 8 seconds is the index. So Hardy Cole gets the pass made in Booger Red on an 8-second index, ran an 8:09 with a 3. 8:09 with a 3, 1/10 of a second for a reaction time, just a little over. Grant Snyder still sitting at the line. Grant Snyder going to try again. Not sure what happened. But here we go. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 239 is Greg Conley. That boat's a TX-18 Youngblood powered by Chevrolet, sponsored by Cars Restoration, RK Rancho Industries, Pumps by Chop, Outlaw Boat Races, and the Mudsucker Mafia. They call that boat Thunder and Lightning. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, Grant Snyder and Big Iron. Getting ready to try it again. 8 seconds is the index for modified eliminator. Top eliminator, you guys should be headed to the in-ramp, please. Top eliminator should be headed to the in-ramp. Quick eliminator, you guys should be warmed up, ready to go. Pro Comp Flat, be standing by. You'll be coming up shortly. Starter called for the lights. We got 25 seconds on the countdown. Greg Conley, Thunder and Lightning in the left lane. Grant Schneider and Big Iron in the right. If that doesn't sound like a Western showdown, I don't know what does. Had a couple of big old wheelies up there. Greg Conley, 27 hundredths of a second in the red, and then ran an 8:92 with a 3. And that'll only be good enough for the number 7 spot. In the Paris, Texas right lane, Grant Snyder, 89 hundredths of a second for his reaction time, and ran a 9:12, 9:12. Guaranteed he is not going to be happy with that pass, but at least the boat made it down the course. So we'll see what happens. They'll take it back and try again. All right, up next, Jake Ballard, boat number 851K. They call that one control issues. The boat is a going with a big block Chevrolet for power, and he's making his full track license pass. He made a half track a while ago. Driving John Parham. Here we go. Seven. All right, so Jake Ballard gets his full track pass and earns himself a license into top eliminator. He ran a 7:02 with a 27 hundredths of a second for a reaction time, and that will turn into a qualifying run for him. Jake Ballard gets his license. And actually, he'll put him in the number 1 qualifying spot for top eliminator. We'll see what happens. All right, here we go with a single. In the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 314 is Austin Fugate out of Fort Worth, Texas. Calls the boat Minimum Effort. Sponsored by Two Guys Marine, Fugate Construction, Beaver Fab, Tony Hedricks Engines, Crusader Sports Academy, and special thanks to Mom and Dad. They struggled a little bit in Waco. Let's see if they got that thing squared away in the meantime. Austin Fugate, here we go. All right. Little fast at both ends, but they made a pass, and that'll take care of that. 8 seconds was the index. He ran a 777 with a 6. 777 with a 6. 51 hundredths of a second, rather. Too early at the line. Next up in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 345. They call that boat Blue Bayou. That is Jeremy Alexander. Modified eliminator, looking for an 8-second index. 15 seconds to go on the countdown. Down and ran real nice. Little fast at the top end. 8 seconds was the index. He ran a 776 with a 5. All right, now we're moving into Pro Eliminator. Pro Eliminator running on a 6.5 second index. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 789 is Dawson Dickerson. Calls the boat Dad's Pocketbook. Sponsored by Harry's Machine, Affordable Engine, Olson Pilings, SWAT Speed and Marine. In the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 465 is Chad Cupid. Calls the boat Warpath out of Broken Bow, Oklahoma. It's a DeMarco powered by Chevrolet, sponsored by Allen's Welding, Kinda Sharp Vinyl Graphics, Moonlit Mountain Cabins, and Outlaw Boat Races. 6.5 seconds is the index. Got 5 seconds left on the countdown. Dawson Dickerson has 99 thousandths of a second for a reaction time. And on a 6.5 index, ran a 6.52 with a 6. That's a beautiful run right there. He'll be happy with that. Chad Cupid on the other side, 6.54 with an 8. Couple of beautiful runs. First two boats down the line, but that gives us our number 1 and number 2 qualifiers. We'll see how that works. According to my list here, we got 8 boats registered in the class, so don't know if that'll hold, but those are awful good runs right there. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left-hand lane, boat number 700 is Cindy Helms. Out of Malvern, Arkansas, calls that boat Starfish, sponsored by Irvin Caps Racing and Arkansas Wholesale. In the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 323K is Mark Creel, calls that boat Patriot. That's a Curtis 501 powered by Chevrolet. Thanks to Jan Little, Ray Beth, and Wayne Fox and Alabama RV. 6.5 seconds the index for Pro Eliminator. If you still need to go to registration, you got 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes to get to registration. Mark Creel was not messing around. He jumped the gun and got early. 69 thousandths of a second. And then too fast at the big end as well. Ran a 6.38 with a 5 on a 6.5 index. Cindy Helms on the other side, just under a half second for a reaction time, and ran a 7.301. 7.30 with a 1. Not the run she was looking for, but we'll see what happens on the next pass. All right, final call for top eliminator. Is your final call, top eliminator. We need your boats at the in-ramp. Quick eliminator, come to the in-ramp. Quick eliminator, bring them to the in-ramp. Pro Comp Flat. Get them warmed up and ready to go. Pro Jet, you guys are on deck. Top eliminator, final call. Quick eliminator, bring them to the in-ramp. Pro Comp Flat, warm them up. So they tell me there's 91 people watching right now on Racer H2O. How cool is that? Whole bunch in their air-conditioned living rooms. Or in Wes Con's case, in the garage. But either way, sitting at home watching. I know we could do better. Call your friends. Tell them to log in. We can do better than 91. Let's see what we can make it happen. While we're getting some boats on the line, do not forget we got a whole bunch of food vendors set up back here in vendor row right behind the water, right behind the timing tower back here. Yay's. They got burgers and fries, chicken strips and fries, breakfast tacos, foot-long corn dogs, nachos with cheese, coffee and drinks. Texas-size sirloin kebabs back there. Roz's Eats is set up back there. They got wraps and sandwiches. Cheeseburger wrap sounds pretty good, to be honest. They've also got some drinks back there. The chocolate kettle is set up. They do chocolate-dipped cheesecake. I'm sure they probably have some other stuff, but that sounds intriguing, right? And then, of course, Shiver Me Shavers. Jeremy came all the way down here to make some, or all the way up here rather, to make some snow cones for you. So go by and check him out. It gets hot. Go grab you a snow cone. He's also coffee and smoothies. All right, here we go. Got a couple boats in the lanes. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 657 is Gavin Snyder. Calls the boat 6 to midnight. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 895K. That's going to be Ty Bolwig. He calls that boat High Plains Drifter. That boat's a watercraft hydro with a Keith Black Chevrolet. Here they go. Woo! Grant Snyder gets a little fast at both ends. Turned it red by 85 thousandths of a second and ran a 6:43 with a 4, but that was a beautiful, beautiful run right there. Looked like it was on a string all the way down, 139-mile-an-hour pass. Ty Bolwig on the other side actually had a little better run for competition anyway. Ran a 6:97 on a 6.5 index with 94 hundredths of a second for a reaction time. Quick Eliminator, we're ready for your boats at the in-ramp, please. Quick Eliminator, ready for your boats at the in-ramp. Pro Comp Flat, you guys should be warmed up, ready to go. Pro Jet, you guys should be standing by. I'll be calling you shortly. After that, will be Pro Mod, Pro Outlaw, and Top Alcohol Hydro. Quick Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp. Need to take care of business with registration. Oh, look at that. It's 10 o'clock right now. She said she was closing. Maybe if you run, you might catch her, but otherwise, I think you might have snoozed. I told her. Quick Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Quick Eliminator, Rich is lonely. He wants to see your smiling faces. Need you at the in-ramp. Quick Eliminator. All right, next up in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is boat number 191. That is Cersei Elrod. Out of Greenbrier, Arkansas, calls the boat Obsession. It's a TPR Stealth with a big block Chevrolet for power. Sponsored by Ballard Performance, SM Elrod Incorporated, Aaron's Powder Coating, Elrod Company, Spring Creek Nursery. 6.5 seconds is the index. Cersei Elrod making his first qualifying run of the day. Here we go. And that'll be good enough to put him in the number 3 spot. He ran a 6.62 on a 6.5 index. All right, here we go. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is boat number 014. That is Mark Roby. Driving for Becky Dollar. He calls that boat Moisture Missile. Can't speak this morning. 6.5 the index for Pro Eliminator. 25 seconds on the countdown. On a 6.5 index, comes up about a half second slow, 6.05 with a 7. 7.05 with a 7, excuse me. 74 hundredths of a second for a reaction time. All right, looks like we're going to be moving into top eliminator now on a 7-second index. And first up in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is boat number 655. Ashley Winslet out of Dallas, Texas, calls the boat Vanishing Breed. Sponsored by Rhineco, Rebecca Banks, Fastline Fabrications, thanks to Mom, Dad, Brian, Chantel, Ryder, Nancy Stacks, Bill Diaz, and Racing for the Davises, her mentors and family. Jerry, Nancy, and Max, racing in heaven. You will be missed. Young Miss Ashley got a birthday tomorrow. Looking for a win this weekend. We'll see how that works out. And on a 7-second index, she ran a 7.04 with an 8. 7.04 with an 8 for 111 mile an hour pass. 29 hundredths of a second for a reaction time. A very nice run for the first round of qualifying. It can only get better from there, but there's not a whole lot of better to do. I see all these amazing folks up and down the waterline here. Come out to watch a little drag boat racing. Welcome. We're super happy to have you. We're super proud to be here in beautiful Paris, Texas for the Paris Powerboat Grand Prix here at the Southern Drag Boat Association. We're excited and we're going to put on a show for you today. Let me just take a minute and tell you about our sponsors. We want to thank Yamaha, Fun and Sun Boats and Tackle, Extreme Racing Oil and Fuel, Pat Kinsey Drywall, WCR Construction, Hobbs Manufactured Homes, DMP Awnings, Fatheads Eyewear, House of Color Motorsports, Nitrous Outlet, RESP, Dragboat Review, Sunico Race Fuels, Trinity Racing Ministries, Diesel Signs and Displays, RacingJunk.com, RacerDirect.com, RGS Racing Equipment. All of those folks helping to sponsor us here for the Paris Powerboat Grand Prix. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, modified eliminator now running on an 8-second index. It's going to be Hunter Pritchard. Calls the boat Show Me That. Sponsored by Highway 40 Boat Marine Engines, Oaks Construction, Big Boss Liquor, Chris Bryan Promotions, Jet Boat Bill's Performance Shop, Worry Begone Dispensary, and Grower. 8 seconds is the index. Quick eliminator, you guys should already be at the in-ramp. If you're not there, you're running way late. Hunter Pritchard gets a little hoppity hop at the start line. Took him 1.34 seconds to get that figured out and get it going down the lane the way he wanted it. And then it never did run exactly the way he wanted it. Ran a 10.18 with a 9, 10.18 with a 9 on an 8-second index. Here we go. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 050 is Bob Winder out of Lake Hills, Texas. Calls the boat Mama's Diamond. Sponsored by Merrick Brothers, Hudson's Automotive, Site Pro, United Rentals, L&W Materials, Action Gypsum, Lone Star Materials, and United Tool. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 715 is Jerry Branham. Calls the boat Back in Black out of Tyler, Texas. Sponsored by WeSellGrass.com, Eagle Motorsports, Lone Star Pump, FloatFix.com, Pumps by Chop. 7 seconds the index. Here we go. Woo! Bob Winder on a 7-second index runs a 7:01 with an 8. 7:01 with an 8. And with two boats down the lanes, that'll put him in the number 1 spot, but that will be a good run. We'll see if it holds. Jerry Branham on the other side, 4 thousandths of a second for a reaction time, and ran a 7:15 with an 8. All right, here we go. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 717 is Bobby Thurman. Calls the boat Crap Shooter. Sponsored by Sambo's Logging. Thanks to the SDBA, his beautiful wife Kim Thurman, Chris English, and the Sucker Punch crew for helping out. Got 15 seconds on the countdown. Bobby Thurman running on a 7-second index. And he runs it just a little fast. Ran a 6.95 with a 5. 6.95 with a 5. Broke out by 44 thousandths of a second. All right, here we go. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is boat number 411. That is Ryan Benson out of Mansfield, Texas. Calls the boat Fool Circle. That's a Curtis Hull with a Ryer Morrison engine. Sponsored by Complete Wiring Solutions, All-Star Motors, Patty Doyle. Special thanks to Jeff and Stephanie Myro. Bo Myro, the shop, Speed and Ring. And in the Paris, Texas right-hand lane, boat number 405 is Matt Miller out of El Reno, Oklahoma. Calls the boat Miller Time. Sponsored by Miller Excavation, Huffman Performance, Smoke on the Water, and all Allie, Radley, and Hazel. Starter called for the lights, so there's 30 seconds on the countdown. Top eliminator running on a 7-second index. Who do I need? Quick eliminator, this is your final call. Quick eliminator, your final call to the in-ramp. Pro Comp Flat, we're ready for you guys at the in-ramp. Go ahead and bring them up. Pro Comp Flat, bring them to the in-ramp. Pro Jet, be warmed up, ready to go. Pro Mod, stand by. Ryan Benson, that boat took off and went. That was a very nice run right there. 7:05 with a 1 on a 7-second index, and that's good enough for the number 4 spot. Matt Miller on the other side, though, ran a 7:01 for a 109-mile-an-hour pass, and that will put him in the number 1 qualifying spot. It is only the first round, so we'll have to wait and see if that holds, but it's got a good chance. Pro-Comp Flat, I need your boats to the in-ramp, please. Pro-Comp Flat, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Pro-Jet, need you guys warmed up, ready to go. Pro-Mod, grab your gear and get ready. You'll be coming up shortly. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 494 is going to be George Olson out of Galveston, Texas. That boat sponsored by Olson Piling. They call the boat Money Well Wasted. 10 seconds on the countdown, 7 seconds on the index. 7:01, the number to beat if you want that number one qualifying spot. It's only the first round, but we'll see. And he ran it a little fast, ran a 690, 690 with a 3, 13 hundredths of a second for a reaction time. All right, here we go. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 392 is Jason Gothard out of San Angelo, Texas. Calls the boat Texas Red. That is a quick eliminator on a 6-second index. Sponsored by Buddy Johnson, Steve Pruitt, Travis and Kim Dusick, Fastline Fabrications, Walls Tractor, Wayman Pitchford, James Brown, Judy Sheffield, FPC Services. A special thanks to the crew chief, Terry Marshall. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 500 is David Merchant out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Calls the boat Flat Wicked. Top eliminator, running on a 7-second index. Sponsored by Electro Freeze of Texas. Special thanks to his wife, Dawn, Bruce, and Bobby Wicker of Electro Freeze. Jason Gothard and Texas Red on a 6-second index ran a 6.12 with a 2. 6.12 with a 2. Turned it red by just over a tenth of a second. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, David Merchant on a 7-second index ran a little fast. 6.96 with a 6. Is it too late? Hello, test 1, 1. Test 1, 2. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Check 1. All right, looks like we're going to get ourselves another pair. And these are both going to be quick eliminators now, running on a 6-second index. And in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is boat number 110. That's going to be Ken Jenkins. Calls the boat through the fire. It's a Cole powered by Chevrolet. Racing for Mother Carol from Virginia. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 505 is Brody Martin. Calls the boat in the red. Sponsored by Phil's Automotive and Towing, Bandera Auto and Truck Supply, Propane Depot, JPM Farms LLC, JC Jones Enterprises, Lake Medina RV Resort, there we go, Winners Electric, Brutal Off-Road, Waterboys LLC, Environmental Comfort Solutions, the Massinger family, Walker Ranch, Billy and Ricky Walker. Thanks for all of our sponsors, and we greatly appreciate your support. Racing in loving memory of James Salisbury. Six seconds is the index for quick eliminator. Brody Martin in the right lane, Ken Jenkins in the left. Starter call for the lights. We got 25 seconds on the countdown. Brody Martin on a 6-second index ran a 6:06 with a 4. 6006 rather. 6006 with a 4. 139 mile an hour pass. And that has him in the number one spot so far. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. That's tough to beat right there. That might hold. Turns it red by 25 thousandths of a second. Ken Jenkins on the other side, red by 22 hundredths of a second. And then a little slow getting there, 6:28 with an 8. There's Texas right-hand lane, boat number 910 is Larry Flores. Calls home, calls the boat Hydro Climatic. Sponsored by Dynamic Racing Engines, Pine Top Construction. His wife Kim Flores, and special thanks to Tom Garcia and all the shop boys, the Body Works, and the good Lord above for all of their help. All right, starter called for the lights. 25 seconds. Larry Flores, Hydro Climatic in the Paris, Texas right-hand lane. Well, it wasn't good enough to take the spot from Brody Martin, but it was good enough for number 2. 6:03 with a 5. 6:03 with a 5. 141 mile an hour pass. 19 thousandths of a second for a reaction time. Larry Flores getting the job done. Miss Tanya. All right, next up in the Paris, Texas right-hand lane, boat number 221 is Jeff Miller out of Auburn, Kentucky. Thanks to the crew chief, Rob Scobie, Toho Wayne Fox. They call that boat Sunday Driver. 6 seconds is the index. Pro Comp Flat, this is your final call. Pro Comp Flat, your final call to the in-ramp. Pro Jet, need your boats to the in-ramp, please. Pro Jet, need your boats to the in-ramp. Pro Modified, need you guys warmed up and ready to go. Pro Outlaw, grab your gear, put some fuel in the boat, make sure you're ready. Be calling you shortly. Pro Comp Flat, ready for you guys. Should already be there. Pro Jet, need you guys at the in-ramp. There we go. Pro Mod, start warming them up. All right, we got ourselves a pair now. And in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 623 is going to be Sambo Smith. Calls that boat Sucker Punch out of Morro Bay, Arkansas. Running this weekend in honor of Danny Anderson. Believe it's been 4 years since he passed away. Whoop. No, those are the ones. All right, so that was Jeff Miller and Sunday Driver. Off the line in 800ths of a second, ran a 671, 672 with a 3, 672 with a 3 for 133 mile-an-hour pass, and that'll be good enough for the number 3 spot. Now, in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 623 is going to be Sambo Smith and Sucker Punch. Sponsored by Sambo Logging, GNC Machine, Brazos Feed, and Morro Bay Mafia. And racing this weekend in honor of Danny Anderson. Make a pair out of them. Didn't you? And in that Paris, Texas right lane, going to be boat number 060, Tommy Powell, driving for Ray Males. They call the boat Blue Thunder. Got his license earlier this morning. Sponsored by the Landing Zone, Blues Country Club, Dr. Feelgoods, Henson's Racing Engine. Special thanks to the Males family. Made it possible for Ray to be here with us this weekend. Mama Cheryl, we miss you and love you. Robert Ledbetter, always helping out. Tommy Powell in the right lane. Sambo Smith in the left. Both guys left early. Sambo Smith, 29 thousandths of a second in the red, ran a 6.12 with a 7. 6.12 with a 7 for a 140-mile-an-hour pass. And Tommy Powell on the other side, off the line almost a half second too early, but then ran a 6.04 with a 5. 6.04 and 5. He was already slowing down. He was at 133 at the 660 buoys right here at the yellow. And then backed off because he knew he was about to break out. Ran a 6.04 with a 5, and that'll give him the number 4 qualifying spot. Oh, here we go. GW Golf. First time he's been with us this summer. Super happy to see him here in the Electro Freeze Express. He's going to be in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 434, out of Catoosa, Oklahoma. Sponsored by Electro Freeze of Texas, Bruce and Bobby Wicker. 6.5 seconds, 6.56 seconds to dial in, Pro Comp flat. And in the Paris, Texas right-hand lane, boat number 502 is Andy Comstock. Calls that one Whiskey Tango. He's dialed in at a 633. Powered by, or sponsored rather, by AC/DC Electric. Knight Sales and Manufacturing, Element Salon, and special thanks to his son Chase and friend Tony for all their help. Andy Comstock turned it red, but he turned it red by 0.001. Like he was almost dead on time. Ran a 6:38 with a 3 on a 6:33, and that'll give him the number 1 qualifying spot in the first round. But there's still a lot of boats to see. GW Golf on the other side, 16 hundredths of a second in the red, and then ran a 6:66 with a 7 on a 6:56 dial in. ProJet, this is your final call. ProJet, your final call to the water, please. Pro Mod, we're ready for your boats at the in-ramp. Pro Modified, ready for your boats at the in-ramp. Pro Mod, we're ready for you at the in-ramp. Pro Outlaw, start warming them up, get ready. Top Alcohol Hydro, you're on deck. Oh, here we go. All the way over from Los Alamos, New Mexico. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is Jeff Luring. Calls the boat Nasty Rumors, boat number 034. Sponsored by Jay and Lori Crocker. Thanks for all your support. Thanks to Jerry and Jessica Hardwick, Jeff Lindeman and his crew chief, Tony Elam. They rode planes, trains, and automobiles trying to get here yesterday. They finally got here. ready to make it go. Let's see how it goes. In the Paris, Texas right-hand lane is Vic Fugate out of Fort Worth, Texas. Thanks to Brent Fugate, Tony Hendrick Racing Engines, Two Guys Marine, and David Carroll Racing for all the help. They call that boat Flat Blacked Out, boat number 238. Vic Fugate's dialed in at a 645. Jeff Loring is dialed in at a 587. That Nasty Rumors machine looks like a rocket headed down the liquid quarter mile. 9 thousandths of a second in the red. And on a 587 dial in, he ran a 596 with a 6 at 134 mile an hour pass. And that'll be good enough for the number 2 qualifying spot in the first round. In the Paris, Texas right lane, Vic Fugate. 33 hundredths of a second to get off the line, and then ran a 662 on a 645 dial in. And that'll put him in the number 4 spot. Pro Modified, we're ready for your boats at the line, please. Pro Modified, we're ready for your boats at the line. Pro Outlaw should be warming them up, getting ready. I hear them back there. All right, here we go. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 412, that is Cole Heinrich. Calls that boat Flat Attack. He's dialed in at a 6.4, sponsored by Hendrick Motorsports, Vic Fugate, Jim Manns, Brian Beaton, and Peterson Tire in San Antonio. That boat's a DeMarco, powered by a blown alcohol Chevrolet. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 075 is Larry Skiro out of Highland Haven, Texas. Calls that boat Flat Nasty. Dialed in at a 595, 595. Sponsored by Blue Water Irrigation and Landscape, John and Pat Heineke. Signs across Texas, Joey Witterberg Construction. Charla Cormier with EXP Realty, Triple C Liquor, Four Season Ranch, D&J Construction, Thornbloom Plumbing, Casa Perio Equipment, Highland Lakes Watercraft, Thomas Mustang Lube, Houston Heat Treat, Chris Osborne, Austin Ashland, and his wife Julie. Couple of nice runs, nothing spectacular. Cole Hendrick dialed in at a 6.4, ran a 6.9. And that'll put him in the number 6 spot. And Larry Skiro turned it red by 45 thousandths of a second. And then on a 595 dial in, ran a 631 with an 8. 631 and 8 for 131 mile an hour pass. In the Paris, Texas right-hand lane, boat number 331. Racing out of Conroe, Texas, that's going to be Tim Ortiz. Sponsored by Pat Kinsey Drywall, Pat, Rhonda, Archie, Gage, and Cash. Thank you to his wife for supporting him in this crazy venture. And a big thanks to Milton and Jen Tolan for all their help. Tim Ortiz calls that boat Never Satisfied. And he's dialed in at a 655. Not real sure what happened with Tim Ortiz. It launched, but it didn't quite sound right. He shut down. And then made a nice leisurely cruise down to the other end. Let's not break anything. Live to fight another day. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully nothing crazy. And now we're moving to Pro Jet. Heads Up Racing to the 6. They're going to race to the 660 right here at these yellow buoys in front of us. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 987 is Jeremy Dickerson. Calls the boat Can't Quit out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. And in the Paris, Texas right lane, boat number 356, Robert Ledbetter out of Owasso, Oklahoma. Calls the boat the Honey Badger. Last couple of races, Robert Ledbetter was the only Pro Jet we had on property. I'm betting you that he's pretty happy to have some competition. So we'll see what he can do with it. This guy can race a drag boat, though, let me tell you. All right. Starter called for the lights. Here we go. 30 seconds on the countdown. Robert Ledbetter, the Honey Badger, in the Paris, Texas right lane. Jeremy Dickerson, Can't Quit in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane. Yeah. Robert Ledbetter, these guys are limited at 145 miles an hour. He runs 146. So that run won't help him any at all. And he and Matt will be having a chat here in just a few. Jeremy Dickerson on the other side ran a 133. So Jeremy Dickerson ran a 3.80 with a 9. And Robert Ledbetter ran a 3.62 with a 7. But that 146 mile an hour was too fast for the class by rule. So while we've got a quick break in the action, my name is Mike Starr, by the way, and I will be your guide through this weekend. Hey, I see Jace down there. What's up, buddy? If you haven't seen some of that guy's videos, you need to go, what is it, JMP 1.0, I believe. Does that get that right? There you go. Give him a follow on Facebook and YouTube. Holy cow, this kid does some good work. All right, while we got a break in the action, let me welcome y'all to the Paris Powerboat Grand Prix for the Southern Drag Boat Association. We're happy to see all these folks up and down the beach here. I guess you could call it a beach, it's close. Hanging out in the shade up under the trees. It's going to be a hot one this weekend. Make sure you stay well hydrated. I don't know how many of y'all can hear me. How many of you guys are here for the very first time for a drag boat race? Anybody? Very first drag boat race? Miss Tanya. All right, nobody here for the first time. Very cool. Well, let me just tell you anyway, if you, maybe you forgot, maybe you need a refresher, either way. The way our course works, down here at the far end, close to the dam over there, is going to be the start line. Gary sitting out there under that little canopy, hanging out. He's the man in charge. Nobody runs until he says, let's go. Once he gets boats up there, he gets them on the holding rope. If it's a dial-in class, he'll get their numbers. He'll call those numbers up here to us in the tower, and we'll get those plugged into the computer. You'll see the boat numbers will pop up over here on our scoreboard on the far side of the course. And then once he says go yellow, we go yellow, and there's a 30-second countdown that starts. They'll get 25 seconds worth of a flashing yellow light, and then it'll go solid for 5 on the back side of the tree there. And then it's a little different for water because it's hard for these boats to do a standing start. So they will get a countdown that runs from 9 to 0 in half-second increments. They need to know what number in that 9 to 0 countdown. They need to leave that holding rope and hit the gas to get even with those sensors at the start line. I don't know where that word went. Woo. And not get themselves a red light. Today, a red light won't hurt you. Tomorrow, it will send you packing. So they need to get that stuff dialed in and make it happen. And then it's all about getting down to the other end of the course. Down here at the red buoys is a 1,000-foot marker. All drag boat racing across the country right now running on 1,000 foot. That gives us plenty of time to shut down at the other end. Obviously, there's no brakes on a drag boat. Some of them do have parachutes, and you'll see some of the faster boats will pull those chutes as they get to the end. There's plenty of shutdown area in this particular lake, so that works out really nicely for us. Other lakes, maybe not so much, and you really got to pull the pin early, get those chutes in the water, and try to start slowing that boat down. I was listening with Bill Wire last night, actually. They were talking about at Wheatland, he's got to pull the chutes right at the finish line if he wants to shut down in time and not end up on the shore. So again, it's all about having that shut down. And the other thing you see out here, well, you got our scoreboard over on the other side, but let me get to that in just a minute. You see our 2 rescue boats, and you see one of them just started moving. We got a little issue at the end ramp, so we're going to send him down there and see if he can help out or not. But got 2 rescues out there. One of them usually hangs out down at the end. The other one hangs out about half course. They're ready to respond at a moment's notice and get where they need to be in order to provide some assistance if there's an incident on the course. They got firefighters on those boats, they got divers on those boats, and they got medically trained people on those boats. And then, Lord forbid, we don't need it, but we've got an ambulance standing by ready to go if we need that as well. But right now, we're going to send them down there and make them work just a little bit, which is kind of a bummer because we really appreciate for them to just sit around and enjoy the race without having to work at all over the weekend. But those are our rescue crews. And then going back to the scoreboard, so you'll see the boat numbers will pop up on that scoreboard initially. And then once they start, you will see their reaction time. That'll pop up first, and that'll stay up while they run down the course. As soon as they break the beam at the finish line, it'll switch to their ET and their mile per hour. It'll rotate back and forth between the two. And in competition tomorrow for eliminations, the winning lane will be flashing. So there you go. That's our course in a nutshell. If you're starting to think maybe it might be time to grab something to eat, good luck for you. We have a whole bunch of food vendors back here. We got Yay's. They've got burgers and fries, chicken strips and fries, nachos, foot-long corn dogs. They might still have some breakfast tacos, too. You can go by and check it out. They also have coffee and drinks. Then there's a booth back there with Texas-sized sirloin steak kebabs. And then Roz's Eats is set up. They're doing wraps and sandwiches. They've got drinks as well. Shiver Me Shavers is set up with snow cones, iced coffee, and smoothies. And the chocolate kettle. For dessert, you can get yourself a chocolate-dipped cheesecake. While you're back there, be sure and stop by and see Beverly at the drag boat review booth. She's set up right here immediately behind the timing tower. And RESP is set up back there as well. If you're not familiar with RESP, that is the Racers Emergency Support Program. They have people that are here on site, ready and available to help out in the event of an incident, or if any driver or their crew or anybody else who's covered needs some assistance, RESP is here and ready to provide it. What's interesting to note about RESP is they are 100% membership and raffle or fundraiser funded. And they actually are doing a raffle this weekend. You can get your tickets. They're raffling off a Yeti 110 cooler. Thing's worth about $500. And that raffle will be held at the NJBA final. And I don't remember the date of that final right off the top of my head, but I know it's in November. You don't have to be there to win, but you do have to buy a ticket if you want to win. And then also, just real quickly, want to remind you, we will be having a non-denominational church service, chapel service. That'll be held tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock at the pavilion over here on the sort of southwest end of the course. Pastor Mike and the folks from Trinity Racing Ministries will be putting that on for us. Always does a great job. Come down and enjoy church service with us here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock at the pavilion. And then after that, we're going to get on the water and do a little drag boat racing. As I said, had a little incident down there at the start line. I suspect, I'm not sure, but it's possible somebody put the boat in without the plug. Nope, that's not what happened. Okay. I don't know what happened, so I'm going to leave that alone. either way, we've got a little issue down there, so we're going to get our folks down there and make sure we get squared away. Help that driver get squared away real quick, and then we will get back to the action. Want to thank our sponsors making it possible for us to be here for the Paris Powerboat Grand Prix at Lake Crook in beautiful Paris, Texas. Helping to sponsor the Southern Drag Boat Association this season. Want to thank Extreme Racing Oil and Fuel, Pat Kinsey Drywall, WCR Construction, Hobbs Manufactured Homes, Fun & Son Boats and Tackle, and Yamaha. DMP Awnings, Fatheads Eyewear, House of Color Motorsports, Nitrous Outlet, RESP, Trinity Racing Ministries, Sunoco Race Fuels, Drag Boat Review, Diesel Signs and Displays, RacingJunk.com, RacerDirect.com, RJS Racing Equipment. All of those folks helping to sponsor the Southern Drag Boat Association here for the Paris Powerboat Grand Prix. Also a big old huge thank you to the folks from Racer H2O, partnering up with us this year, live streaming every single one of our events, and we are super stoked to be paired up with them.
I got stickers too, if they want to come up here for stickers.
I want one. Deuce tells me they got some free Racer H2O stickers over here if you want to come down and see him. He'll get you hooked up with one. Anyways, you can go to racerh2o.com and find a link to the live stream, or you can go on YouTube and do a quick search for Racer H2O and you'll find them. They're live streaming our event. So if you can't make it out here tomorrow, you can still watch eliminations from the comfort of your home or wherever you happen to have an internet connected device. So, like I said, we're working on a little issue there at the in-ramp. We get that taken care of, we'll get back to the action. In the meantime, please be sure and take advantage of some of our food vendors. Come over, visit with them, get some food, grab yourself a snow cone. Remember, it is going to be hot out here this weekend, so please try to stay cool if you can, and for sure, make sure you stay hydrated. looking at that tree. Hey, while we have a break, also, I almost forgot to mention her because she wasn't open earlier, but Emily's got the SDBA merchandise trailer set up back here. Get your official event T-shirts for the Paris Powerboat Grand Prix. They also have racers shirts back there. I'll try and go get a list here in just a minute and figure out which racers she's got, but she's had shirts from a lot of the racers back there, selling those for them so you don't have to go try and find them in the pits. You can also go back there and wander around in the pits a little bit, though. Talk to some of the drivers, take a look at some of the machines. Now's a good time to do that. Also, don't forget to go back and talk to the folks from RESP and the folks from Drag Boat Review. All right, so good news. Looks like we're a couple of minutes away from being ready to launch some more boats. We'll get those guys in the water here momentarily. And we'll get back to the action. In the meantime, like I said, don't forget to stop by and see Emily over here at the SDBA merchandise trailer. She's got event shirts for the Paris Powerboat Grand Prix. She's also got driver shirts from Wild Thing, Aquaholic, Nitro Nuts, Liquid Voodoo, Don't Blink, In the Red, Flat Nasty, Little More Therapy, Through the Fire, and Trinity Racing Ministries. They also have some SDBA shirts and hats. They have hats and shirts from Liquid Voodoo, hats and shirts from In the Red, and koozies from In the Red. So there you go. Lots of stuff available over there. Go by and see Emily. She'll tell you what she's got. Get you squared away. There's some cool looking shirts over there. And also don't forget our food vendors that are set up back here. We've got yayas, burgers, chicken strips, foot-long corn dogs, nachos. Got Texas-sized sirloin steak kebabs. Roz's Eats, they've got sandwiches and wraps. Shiver Me Shavers with snow cones, iced coffee and smoothies. And a chocolate kettle with chocolate dipped cheesecake. Racers, if you're needing some fuel, Sunoco Race Fuels is set up down at the southwest end of Vendor Row. And then back here behind the timing tower, Beverly Stokes has got her drag boat review stuff set up. Get yourself subscribed to Drag Boat Review. Keep up with everything that's happening in the world of drag boat racing. They cover all of the racing associations in the country, and they do a great job. Pretty fun. Get that little magazine in your mailbox every now and then. Take a look at it, see what's going on. And they also have RESP set up back there with them as well. So you can swing by and visit with the folks at RESP, talk to them a little bit about what it is they do, and, you know, maybe buy a membership while you're at it. They are completely membership funded, and donation funded, and provide a really valuable service to any of our racers, crews, anybody that's a member, basically. If there's some sort of an incident at the racetrack. So it's definitely a worthwhile deal. I sit up here in the timing tower all weekend, and I still membered up. All right, getting our rescue folks back into position. They were over there helping out with that little incident at the in-ramp. Thankfully, just for everybody's clarification, nobody was hurt. It was just a boat issue. Got a little steep getting in the water, took on some water. Needed some help getting that thing back on the trailer so they can get it drained out and take a good look at it and make sure everything's all right. But we're moving our folks back into position here real quick, and we'll be ready to get started and back to the action for the Paris Powerboat Grand Prix. Once again, a big old hello and thank you to the folks out at Racer H2O for joining in with us. I don't know how many people we got logged in now. We had 91 earlier. Hopefully there's more now. If 91 people call their friends and get them to log in, that puts us at like 182, right? So we could just keep doubling it all day long. We'll be in great shape. All right, should be getting some boats back out on the line here shortly. Don't forget, you can check us out on the World Wide Web. You can go to SDBARacing.com, SDBARacing.com, and you can find pretty much everything you want to know about the Southern Drag Boat Association. You can look at point standings. You can look at race results from previous races. There's driver profiles on there. Our schedule for the rest of the season is on there. All kinds of information available at SDBARacing.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Southern Drag Boat Association. Sorry, Southern Drag Boat Association. You can give us a follow on Facebook, get all the updates. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be going into Pro Mod when we get these guys into the water. I think we only had the 2 Pro Jets on the property, and that's over. So Pro Modified should be at the in-ramp and ready to load. Pro Outlaw should be warmed up, ready to go. Sorry for the delay. And then Top Alcohol Hydro. You guys need to be standing by. Yes, sir. So sounds like we're clearing up the last of our issue down there at the in-ramp and hopefully be able to get some of those boats on the line here very shortly. Starting to get some boats on the holding rope. All right, so the first one is going to be in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 716. That's going to be Sean Reed out of Puyallup, Washington. They call the boat Top Secret. It's a Curtis powered by Chevrolet. Sponsored by NGK, Reed Trucking and Excavating, Hughes Oilfield Transportation, Crew Steve Sparks, Billy Mendiola, and Andrea Kayat. All right, starter called for the lights. Got 5 seconds on the countdown. Sean Reed, Top Secret, Pro Modified on a 5.6 second index. Here we go. Yes, indeed. 5.6 is the index. He ran a 5.5 with a 1, 5.51. And was a little early coming off the line, 23 hundredths of a second in the red. 167 mile an hour pass. All right, next up in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 810. That's going to be Teresa Mollis, driving a little more therapy. Mallory Carroll a little under the weather this weekend. Wishing her the best. Hope she feels better. Teresa going to handle the driving duties for the weekend. Sponsored by David Carroll Racing, WCR, and Trinity Racing Ministries. There you go. Little squirrely at the start, but it looked good after that. 5.57 with a 9 on a 5.6 index. 0.2 of a second early at the line and 163 mile an hour pass. Teresa Mollis, little more therapy. All right, here we go in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane. Boat number 178 is Daryl Mad Max Ehrlich, driving for Doug Mader. Calls the boat Out of Reach out of Round Rock, Texas. Sponsored by Daryl's Equipment, Social Security, retirement, the whole crew. Special thanks to Jordan Hayes at Hayes Welding. Daryl and Angie, Chris, Randall, Yvonne, Mackenzie, Angela, and Dan. Special thanks to Robert Jayers for the four-wheeler. Pro Outlaw, we're ready for your boats at the in-ramp, please. Pro Outlaw, we're ready for you at the in-ramp. Top Alcohol Hydro. Be warming them up and get ready. And Personal Watercraft, you guys stand by, you're on deck after that. Daryl Ehrlich, 2 seconds to go, here we are. He ran a 5.75 with an 8. 5.75 with an 8. It's good enough for the number one qualifying spot so far, but only 3 boats have run. 159 miles an hour. And next up in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is boat number 927, racing out of Arlington, Texas. That boat is a Texas Outrigger. Blown alcohol engine in the back, 565 cubic inches. They call the boat Wound Too Tight, and the driver is Robin Reed. Sponsored by Two Guys Marine, Texas Outrigger Boats, CCR Fiberglass and Marine, NGK Spark Plugs, Fun and Sun Boats and Tackle, Trinity Racing Ministry. Special thanks to the crew chief Wesley Ice, the family, Crystal, Emily, Claire, Bob, and Debbie, the Tuttle family for all they do, Cody Childress for the motor program, and the crew, Bink and Bart Giles. "15 seconds on the countdown. Robin Reed, Wound Too Tight in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane. Watch that capsule. Once it goes down, it's go time. Yep, here we go. He runs a little fast as well. Broke out by 74 thousandths of a second. Ran a 5.52 with a 5. 5.52 with a 5 on a 5.6 index. 78 thousandths of a second too early at the light. But it's good enough for the number 3 spot at the moment. Pro Outlaw, if you're not already headed to the in-ramp, you need to be headed that way. Pro Outlaw, we need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Top Alcohol Hydro, need you guys warmed up, ready to go. Personal Watercraft, stand by. You guys are coming up after that. Whew. In the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane is boat number 647. That's going to be Mickey Snyder out of Rio Medina, Texas. They call the boat Top Gun. Sponsored by Snyder Motorsports, Napa, Rio Medina Truck and Auto, Rio Fab and Welding, Custom Powder Coating, Four-Way Bar and Grill, Trinity Racing Ministries, Lowly Construction, Long's Machine, Postal Annex, your home office, Rowdy Tees, Twisted Tags and Embroidery, and thanks to his wife Glenda and pit crew for all their help. All right, starter called for the lights. There's 10 seconds on the countdown. Mickey Snyder and Top Gun in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, looking for a 5.6 second run. And right about now, that boat should be running. All right, boat didn't start. We're going to see what happens, reset that, and try again. Five seconds to go. Well, Mickey Snyder and his crew got some work to do. Did not sound right from the very beginning. Didn't want to start initially. Got it started. Still didn't sound right. He chose to just take it nice and easy, not break anything. Get that back to the pit and see if they can figure out what happened. All right, next up is going to be Mr. Cade Genesek. Boat number 255. They call that one All or Nothing. Been having some struggles this season. Let's see if they got this thing figured out. I hope they did. Sponsored by JP&E, Eric Dement and the Real Bad Boys team, David Kirkland Racing, RESP, and Trinity Racing Ministries. All right, starter calls for the lights. Got 22 seconds on the countdown. Cade Genesek, all or nothing in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane. Looking for a 5.6 second run. They've had challenges this season. Let's see what they got done over the off time. All right, get it done, sir. Well, couldn't get it started. Gary's got him reset. Let's see what happens. There it goes. And there it went. Man, tough luck for that crew. They, like I said, they've had some struggles. We do need truck and trailer for boat number 255. Back to the in-ramp, please. Truck and trailer for boat number 255. Back to the in-ramp, please. That is tough luck for Cade and his crew. They're going to... All right. Stand by, boat number 255, truck and trailer, stay at the out ramp. Truck and trailer for 255, stay at the out ramp. They're going to pull him down there real quick. So we'll get a quick break while they tow him down to the out ramp. It's a good time for me to let you know you can go by and see Emily at the SDBA merchandise trailer. Pick up your SDBA merchandise. They got hats, they got t-shirts, they got tank tops for the ladies. They've got your official Paris Powerboat Grand Prix event shirts. They also have racer shirts. They've got shirts from Wild Thing, Aquaholic, Nitro Nuts, Liquid Voodoo. They got shirts and hats both. Don't Blink. In the red, they got shirts, hats, and koozies. Flat Nasty. A Little More Therapy. Through the Fire. And Trinity Racing Ministries. Pro Outlaw, your boat should be at the in-ramp. Pro Outlaw, you guys should already be at the in-ramp. Top Alcohol Hydro should be warmed up, ready to go. Personal Watercraft, you guys should be standing by. We'll be calling you shortly. I think. There's our rescue crew right there. What's up, guys? Thank you very much for everything. Y'all give those guys a holler as they go by. They work hard out here. They sit in that dive gear all day long, roasting. And we appreciate them very, very much. Thank you all very much. As I was saying earlier, they've got divers out there, they've got firefighters out there, and they've got medical posts on the boat. Everybody ready to handle whatever might come at them. All right, I got a couple of pro mods in the lanes now. And in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane, boat number 45 is going to be Jason Brandt out of Ingram, Texas. Calls the boat Hydro Hysteria. Sponsored by Brandon and Ashley Lofstrom, Brady, Texas, Guild Mortgage, and Felix Gomez Jr. And in the Paris, Texas right-hand lane, boat number 459 is going to be Mr. Henry Bainey. Calls that boat Don't Blink out of Burton, Texas. That boat's a Curtis 501 Hydro powered by Chevrolet, sponsored by Ranch King Trailers, Schaefer Racing Oils, Western Airways, Rick Heidel, American Brick and Stone, Gomez Landscaping, Hunt and Hunt, Central Texas Jet Boats, Roosters Repairs, American Fiberglass Repair. Special thanks to the Naughty Crew. And we love you, Mama Alice. Oh, sorry. All right, Gary says let's do this. There's 30 seconds on the countdown. Jason Brandt in the left lane. Henry Bainey in the right. Oh, that'll get the job done. Henry Bainey runs a 5.62 with an 8 on a 5.6 index at 156 mile an hour pass, and that's good enough for the number one qualifying spot in the first round. Jason Brandt ran a 5.79 with a 2, and that'll put him in the number 3 spot at 152 mile an hour. Both guys turned it red by a little over a tenth of a second. Couple of really nice looking runs right there. Henry Bainey's going to be happy. I know his crew's happy. I can hear him over there hooting and hollering. Getting the job done. It's getting real close to lunchtime. If you're starting to think maybe you're a little hungry, don't forget we got a bunch of food vendors set up back here. We got yayes set up with burgers and fries, chicken strip baskets and fries, nachos with cheese, foot-long corn dogs, coffee and drinks. Roz's Eats is set up with wraps and sandwiches. They got cheeseburger wraps. They got a bunch of other ones. I didn't write down everything on the menu, but they got a bunch of good-looking stuff on there. Shiver Me Shavers is set up with snow cones, iced coffee, smoothies. If you haven't had a snow cone yet, those things are life-changing. I recommend you get one sometime today. And then the chocolate kettle. Got chocolate dip cheesecake if you're looking for some dessert. All right. Got another Pro Modified going to be in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane. Boat number 115 is Greg Lempar out of Comfort, Texas. Calls the boat Anger Management. Sponsored by Jeff Rose, the Cocky Rooster Bar, Jeff Trailer Sales. And thanks to Jamie and Jerry for all the help. 5.6 seconds is the index. Haven't called. Alcohol Hydro, we're ready for your boats at the in-ramp. Top Alcohol Hydro, we're ready for your boats at the in-ramp. Personal Watercraft, go ahead and warm them up, get ready. Stock Eliminator, stand by, you're on deck. Sorry. I think there is a Pro Mod Gremlin somewhere on this course. All right, well, tough luck for Gremlin Par. I'm not sure what happened. We're going to get him hooked up, tow him out to the out ramp. And I believe we got one more Pro Mod. And then we should be moving into Pro Outlaw. Top Alcohol Hydro, we're ready for your boats at the in-ramp, please. Top Alcohol Hydro, bring them to the in-ramp. Personal Watercraft, be warming them up, get ready. Stock Eliminator, grab your gear and be standing by. Here comes that last Pro Mod. In the Paris, Texas right lane is boat number 007. That's going to be Steve Walls out of San Angelo, Texas. Calls the boat Shaken, Not Stirred. Sponsored by Fastline Fabrications, Buddy Johnson, Walls Tractor Repair, Machine Works Incorporated, Schaefer Oils, O'Reilly Auto Parts in San Angelo, Joe Yarbrough, FPC, FPC Serves, James and Judy Sheffield. There you go. Wayman Pitchford Incorporated, William R. Pascal and Sons Fine Woodworking. Special thanks to Cody Childress and Jerry Hardwick for their help and knowledge. And thanks to his crew, Michelle, Sella, Bruce, Stephen, Carl, Becky, Jason, Shanna, Cody, Mandy, Marvin, Billy, and Tag. Whew. Well, Steve Walls gets it running again. There we go. Just over a tenth of a second for a reaction time and ran a 6:16 with a 1. It's good enough for the number 4 qualifying spot. And that is how Pro Mod will end for the first round of qualifying. Ran 143 mile an hour. And we will be moving into Pro Outlaw. All right, we're going to make a quick jump up about 0.4 of a second and move to Pro Outlaw. Running on a 5.2 second index. Pro Outlaw should be at the in-ramp. Top Alcohol Hydros should be at the in-ramp. Personal Watercraft, you guys should be warmed up, ready to go. Stock Eliminator, stand by. I'll be calling you shortly. Be ready. In the Paris, Texas right-hand lane is boat number 521. That is Rick Blethroad. He calls that machine Wild Thing. Top Alcohol Hydro. Turn around and head to the pit and stay there for a minute. Top Alcohol Hydro. Stand by where you are. We're going to fix the ramp real quick. All right, Rick Blethroad calls the boat Wild Thing. Got a couple of twin turbos strapped onto the back of that thing. Sponsored by Alliance Machine, Lone Star Gasket, and AAA RV. Racing out of Odessa, Texas. 25 seconds on the countdown. There's those turbos. Here we go. Sounds a whole lot different than some of our other machines, but man, it sure runs nice. On a 5.2 index, he ran a 5.55, 165 mile an hour pass. All right. That's going to be Cody Childress in the Paris, Texas right-hand lane. Boat number 077 calls that one Bad Influence out of Nemo, Texas. Sponsored by Lenco Transmission, TD's Transmission, Galen and Bet Childress. Ken Jenkins, special thanks to his wife and kids, Bentley, Braxton, Brady, and Blakely, and thanks to Mama Judy for all the help. And there go the chutes. That'll work. Check this out. 527 with a 3. 527 with a 3 for 172. Almost 173 mile an hour pass. Cody takes over the number 1 qualifying spot. 73 thousandths of a second off the number. That was a beautiful run right there. Turned it red by 13 thousandths of a second. And then here comes Bill Wire. He's going to line up in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane. Boat number 1028 calls the boat Alcoholic Behavior. Sponsored by BW Construction Company, Opie's Barbecue, Jackson Electric, Bayside Buggies, BCMT Trucking, Truck Country Outfitters, and a special thank you to his hard-working crew. All right, starter says, let's do this thing. 25 seconds on the countdown. Bill Wire, alcoholic behavior in the Hobbs Manufactured Homes left lane. Indeed. A little fast. He broke out by 7/100ths of a second. Ran a 5.12 with a 9. 5.12 with a 9. And that will only be good enough for the number 3 qualifying spot, but it's only the first round. We'll see what happens after that.